You know, my 4-year-old niece just started learning Spanish, but she doesn't know how to say please yet, which I think is kind of poor for 4. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cooking with Sun King. It's your old buddy, Chef Steven. Of course, here at the signature table at Fisher's Test Kitchen with our wonderful friends at Green Bean Delivery. And today, we're using one of my favorite beers, especially from the King's Reserve line seasonally, caramel apple triple. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we're gonna make a really simple, really easy French apple cake with a caramel apple triple beer caramel sauce. We get all that? So to get started, this again is just a very simple cake, very few ingredients, but we wanna make sure everything that we do have is of the highest quality because there is nothing to hide behind. So we're gonna start with some goat butter. You might think, well, can I just use regular butter? Of course you can, but again, we've got the access to this really awesome Car Valley goat butter. So we're gonna go about 4 ounces. So this is an 8-ounce tub, so we'll just do half of this. And then we need some sugar. So creaming the butter and the sugar together allows the sugar to dissolve, which makes a really nice fluffy texture for our cake. We've got 2/3 of a cup plus about a teaspoon. So we're gonna leave that teaspoon behind to actually drizzle over the top of the cake right before we bake it, so that it has this really nice crisp exterior and a wonderful little bit of a crunch. So we'll sprinkle this in. Just a little bit more. And then we are going to cream these together. I'm just going to use an electric hand mixer. If you want to use a stand mixer, you can. Honestly, with as warm as all of our ingredients are, which makes for a really easy cake, you can just even use a whisk if you want. But we want to whisk this for just about 1 minute to 2 minutes until it's nice and light and fluffy, and the color of the butter has just lightened a little bit. Ready? Perfect. We'll scrape down the sides of our bowl just to make sure everything can get by in pretty easily. And then we're gonna add our eggs. You wanna do this one at a time as to not break your emulsion just yet. We'll actually see that here in just a second. But we've got these really nice, of course, beautiful farm fresh eggs from Spring Valley Farm. So we'll go in one at a time. And we're gonna go ahead and mix those one at a time, just until they're fully incorporated. And then in one more. So now we need some flavoring. Again, there's not really much to hide behind. So far, all we have is butter, sugar, and eggs. There's really not a ton after the apple and a little bit of dry mix. So we're going to use 2 flavorings today. The first one, of course, is 3 teaspoons or a full measured tablespoon of our caramel apple triple. So this is a really wonderful fall beer. This is our triple aged in rum barrels, and then Andrew toasts a whole bunch of cinnamon sugar apples and throw those in there as well. So it's got wonderful rum characteristics, all of those kind of tropical vibes that we're used to, but then it also just gets a wonderful smattering of fall flavors with all of those toasted apples, cinnamon, and brown sugar. We'll also throw in just a scant teaspoon of vanilla extract. Wipe our hands off. Cool. Home stretch. If your mixture happens to break, if it looks kind of like cottage cheese or something like that, please don't worry. That's totally fine. Once we've got the butter, eggs, and sugar incorporated, everything else is pretty much gonna come together regardless. So we'll do our dry mix next, which is just 1 cup of flour, a little bit of baking powder, and a little bit of salt. And you can sift these if you want. I'm actually just gonna shake it up real quick, just because it's easy. Give it a tap. And then we're just gonna gently fold this in. We do not want to over mix this mixture because our cake will then be kind of tough and not super, super great. So that goes in. And then just using our spatula, we're gonna fold. So always when we fold, we start from the outside and kind of pick it up underneath. And we're really just looking to gently combine all of our ingredients to form a nice smooth cake batter. If there are a couple lumps, that's totally fine because we still have to mix in our apples. We're almost there. Just like that, we have a base cake batter. So now onto our apples. Of course, depending on the size, you're going to want 1 large or 2 small. We're gonna use Honeycrisp. Go to your favorite orchard. Go grab the fun apples that you've always wanted to try. Try to make sure they're on the more firm texture. So Granny Smith, Jazz, Honeycrisp, anything that has a nice firm tart texture to it. Anything too soft like a Jonathan or a Macintosh will just kind of disintegrate in this cake. So we are looking for beautiful little pieces of apple. So we're gonna peel our apples, dice them up, fold them in. We have an already greased 8-inch round cake pan lined with a little bit of parchment so our cake comes out nice and easy. Dice up our apple, throw our batter in, and then talk about some beer caramel. Sound good? Awesome. So we are looking just for about 1/2-inch size cubes here. However you want to get there is totally fine. If you like bigger chunks of apple, please put bigger chunks in. But we'll just go at a nice size here. Flip these guys over. Nice one. It's about, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 cups of apples at the most. Again, we don't have a ton of cake batter here, so we are looking for a nice mixture between the two, so we'll toss those in. And again, fold one more time, just nice and gentle, just making sure all of those apples are coated in some cake batter so you don't have any spots when you cut into your cake that are apple-less, because that's kind of sad. And then we'll go into our pan. Again, just a little bit of pan spray, piece of parchment so it comes right out, and then a little bit more pan spray so that releases really nice and beautifully. So we'll go into the pan. And then you just kind of want to gently spread this entire thing out, just so it's nice and even layer. So we'll take our remaining sugar, again, just a little bit over a teaspoon. We're gonna gently sprinkle that over the entire top of this cake, and it's gonna bake at 325 degrees for anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, depending on your oven. If you are using convection, make sure that fan's nice and low. We want this cake to be super tender and delicious, not rock hard and crunchy. And that's all she wrote. Again, just 325 degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes. And then we'll turn to our beer caramel sauce. So now for our caramel apple triple beer caramel sauce. It's a lot of words, but again, just a few ingredients. We're using the kind of rich, robust fall flavor of the caramel apple triple as the base for our caramel. So we will reduce just about 6 ounces. And then once it's about half reduced, we'll add in 1/3 cup of brown sugar and let that cook out as well. We're looking for nice, large bubbles, which means most of the water has evaporated and all we have left is that delicious caramel apple triple flavor. And then the finish is pretty simple. It's just a little bit of heavy cream, some more goat butter, touch of vanilla extract, and of course a good pinch of salt because we want our caramel to have as much flavor as possible. Salt always makes things, especially on the sweet side, taste even sweeter, and that's what we love. So let's get started. So again, just about 6 ounces of our caramel apple triple into a saucepan. We do want this just to reduce for about 4 to 5 minutes or just until half. It just concentrates the flavor a little more and allows our caramel to be a wonderful smooth consistency. Just about medium heat. You don't want to go too hot because you do run the risk, just in case you get caught up on something, of burning your beer. And that would be a very bad thing because it's our delicious King's Reserve series. So we want to take care of it as carefully as possible. I think this whole recipe uses about 7 ounces. So that gives you 9 whole ounces to drink with it later, which is always fun. But you can actually make this caramel in a nice big batch if you want to, and it'll keep in your fridge for a couple of months. Bubbles are starting to get nice and big. So our beer has reduced by about half. And then we're gonna go in with one more ingredient, which is about 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. Again, wonderful organic stuff from our good friends at Green Bean. But this is going to help make our actual caramel. And once this is combined, we'll let it reduce just a little bit more, wait until those bubbles get nice and big, and add the rest of our ingredients. Perfect. Ellie just wants this to dissolve. Making that good music. Perfect. Alex, if you want to zoom in here real quick, we have these beautiful bubbles. We're starting to see this nice golden hue, and then we need to go in with just a few more ingredients, and this is gonna go pretty quick, so we'll try to follow along. So I think we have just about 1/2 cup of heavy cream. That goes in next, and it's gonna bubble and hiss at you like crazy. Awesome. We'll let that cook out for just a second and kind of dissolve all of our solids. So our bubbles were nice and big, so we want to make sure to kind of finish this before it burns. You'll see just kind of that caramel start to darken just a little bit, and then we'll add our heavy cream, a little bit of butter, and that will kind of stop the cooking process and actually help our caramel not seize and become really rich and velvety and smooth. And then we just need a little bit of salt and a little bit of vanilla, but as soon as we shut the heat off. Boop. We're there. And then off the heat, of course. Really great thing about vanilla is that it has a beautiful flavor that adds awesome things to a lot of baked goods. The not so great thing about it is that it is mostly alcohol based. And if you add it to your stuff when it's too hot, all of that alcohol will evaporate, thus all evaporating most of that actual vanilla essence. So we want to make sure we add this last. Yep. And then of course, just a nice generous pinch of kosher salt. And that's all she wrote. Perfect. So it's been about 30 minutes and our cake is perfectly golden brown. We inserted a toothpick, of course, as always, just to make sure it's not super, we're not looking for completely dry. That means your cake is overcooked and it's not ready to go. But we just had a few tiny little microscopic crumbs on there and we're pretty much ready to go. So let's see what we got. Ready? Cake. Perfect. We got a nice, beautiful golden layer on top. Our apples have kind of stayed exactly where they're supposed to be. They're not completely overcooked. They should still have a nice toothsome texture. We're gonna cut ourselves a slice and serve it with that delicious Tripel arm. Oh no, that was so close. We are going to serve that with our delicious caramel apple Tripel beer caramel sauce. You have to be like a lyricist to get that one out. Yeah. Yep, we're gonna invert it. Yeah, this is what you always should do. Wait until your cake's completely cool, not like an idiot. And we're gonna invert this real quick. Cake is bigger than the pan, but that's all right. Perfect. Take our parchment off. And then we will flip it back over. Perfect. And then for maximum drizzle effect, be a great day. It's cake. Looks good. So that was our wonderful French apple cake featuring, of course, caramel apple Tripel and that beautiful beer caramel sauce. Of course, we want to thank our friends at Green Bean Delivery for all of the wonderful ingredients, especially those apples, super great. And of course, the signature table here at the Fisher's Test Kitchen. And of course, all of you for following along. For all of those recipes, you'll go to greenbeandelivery.com/blog. You'll find those there. Even go to sunKingBrewing.com and check out the shop tab. I've been wearing all of our brand new merch for most of these shoots now, and it's been great. So check that out. All of that stuff's up there as well. And of course, if you want to keep following along with us like you have for so long, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. We appreciate that as well. It makes Alex feel good, so he doesn't have to cry himself to sleep at night. And I think that's it for us. We want to thank you guys again for hanging out with us. Hopefully you follow along, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.